The starship Horizon drifted silently through the inky void of deep space, its sleek hull gleaming under the light of distant stars. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the viewscreen before her. After months of travel, they had finally reached their destination, the edge of known space. "Status report," Elena called out, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. Lieutenant James Chen looked up from his console. "All systems nominal, Captain. We're holding position just outside the Centauri system." Elena nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, the chance to make contact with an alien civilization. And now, here they were, poised on the brink of a new era. "Open a channel on all frequencies," she ordered. "Let's see if anyone's home." As the communications officer complied, a hush fell over the bridge. For several long moments, there was nothing but static. Then suddenly, a series of musical tones echoed through the speakers. Elena's heart raced. "Is that?" "It's a response, Captain," Chen exclaimed, his fingers flying over his console. "We're receiving a transmission." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything they had ever seen. It had iridescent skin that shimmered with every movement, large, almond-shaped eyes, and a slender, graceful body. When it spoke, its voice was melodious and soothing. "Greetings, travelers," the alien said in perfect English, much to everyone's surprise. "We are the Astrali. Welcome to our star system." Elena stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. "I am Captain Elena Rodriguez of the Earth ship Horizon. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." The Astrali's eyes seemed to twinkle. "We have long awaited this day, humans of Earth. Your transmissions have reached us for many of your years. We are pleased to finally meet you face to face." Over the next few weeks, the crew of the Horizon engaged in a whirlwind of cultural exchange with the Astrali. The aliens proved to be gracious hosts, eager to share their knowledge and learn about humanity in return. Elena found herself in awe of their technology. The Astrali had mastered faster-than-light travel centuries ago and had built a thriving civilization spanning multiple star systems. Their cities were marvels of engineering, with towering spires that seemed to defy gravity and gardens that floated in midair. But as impressive as the Astrali were, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they viewed humans as quaint curiosities rather than equals. She noticed the patronizing tone in their voices when explaining simple concepts, the way they marveled at human resilience, as if it were some party trick. One afternoon, while touring an Astrali research facility, Elena overheard two scientists talking in hushed tones. "These humans are fascinating, aren't they?" one said. "So primitive, yet so determined." The other chuckled. "Indeed, it's almost endearing how they struggle with concepts our children grasp effortlessly." Elena felt her cheeks burn with indignation, but she held her tongue. She knew that humanity had a lot to learn, but she also knew they had potential that the Astrali couldn't begin to fathom. As the days wore on, the crew of the Horizon began to feel the strain of being constantly underestimated. Lieutenant Chen confided in Elena one evening, his frustration evident. "Captain, I can't take much more of this," he said. "Yesterday, an Astrali engineer patted me on the head like a child when I suggested an improvement to their propulsion systems. A valid improvement, I might add." Elena sighed, understanding all too well. "I know, James, but we have to be patient. We're here to learn, after all." "But when do we get to teach them something?" Chen asked, his voice rising. "When do they start seeing us as equals?" Before Elena could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. They rushed to the bridge, where a frantic communications officer greeted them. "Captain, we're receiving a distress call from an Astrali outpost on the outer rim of their system," he reported. "They're under attack by an unknown force." Elena's mind raced. This could be their chance to prove themselves. "Alert the Astrali High Command. Tell them we're ready to assist in any way we can." The response came swiftly, and to Elena's surprise, it was one of gratitude. The Australi, for all their advanced technology, were not a warlike species. They had little experience in combat situations and welcomed any help they could get. As the horizon sped towards the besieged outpost, Alina gathered her crew. "This is our moment," she told them. "Let's show the Astrali what humans are truly capable of." The scene that greeted them at the outpost was chaos. Strange, crystalline ships swarmed around the Astrali station, firing beams of energy that ate through the station's defenses like acid. "Analysis, Mr. Chen," Alina barked. Chen studied his readings, his brow furrowed. "The attackers' technology is like nothing I've ever seen, Captain. But their attack pattern, it's predictable, almost like they're following a preset algorithm." Alina's eyes lit up. "Can we use that against them?" "If we can disrupt their pattern, yes," Chen replied, a grin spreading across his face. "I have an idea, but it's risky." "Do it," Alina ordered without hesitation. Chen's fingers flew over his console, and suddenly, the horizon began emitting a complex series of electromagnetic pulses. The effect on the crystalline ships was immediate and dramatic. They began to spin wildly, their formation breaking apart. "Now, weapons free," Alina commanded. The horizon opened fire, its human-designed weapons proving surprisingly effective against the alien vessels. One by one, the crystalline ships shattered into glittering fragments. In less than an hour, it was over. The unknown attackers had been routed, and the Australi outpost was safe. As Alina and her crew boarded the station to help with repairs, they were met with looks of awe and gratitude. The Australi station commander approached Alina, his iridescent skin glowing with emotion. "Captain Rodriguez, we owe you a great debt. How did you defeat them so easily when our own defenses failed?" Alina smiled, feeling a surge of pride in her crew and her species. "We observed, we adapted, and we overcame. It's what humans do best." For the first time since their arrival, Alina saw real respect in the Australi's eyes. It was a small step, but an important one. As they worked side by side to repair the damage, human and Australia alike, Alina knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Humanity had proven they were ready to face both, and as word of their victory spread across the stars, Alina couldn't help but wonder, what other surprises did the universe have in store for them? As the horizon prepared to depart for Earth, carrying news of their incredible discovery and their heroic defense of the Australi outpost, Alina knew that everything had changed. Humanity was no longer alone in the universe, and they had made quite an entrance onto the galactic stage. The Australi bid them farewell with newfound respect, promising to maintain contact and continue the exchange of knowledge. As the ship broke orbit, Alina gazed out at the star-studded expanse before them. The journey home would be long, but the future that awaited them was bright with possibility. "Set a course for Earth, Mr. Chen," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We have quite a story to tell." As the horizon leaped into faster-than-light travel, Alina couldn't help but smile. If only the Australi had known what humans were truly capable of from the start. But then again, maybe it was better this way. After all, humanity had always thrived on exceeding expectations. The adventure was just beginning, and Alina Rodriguez, along with the rest of humanity, was ready to show the galaxy exactly what they could do. The Galactic Challenge. 6 months after the Horizon's return to Earth, humanity was still reeling from the implications of first contact. The news of alien life had sparked a renaissance in scientific research, technological development, and cultural exchange. Earth's nations had set aside their differences, united by the common goal of establishing humanity's place in the galactic community. Captain Alina Rodriguez found herself at the center of this whirlwind of activity. As the face of humanity's first extraterrestrial encounter, she had become a global celebrity overnight. But today, as she stood before the United Earth Council, she felt the weight of responsibility more than ever. "Captain Rodriguez," the council president began, We've received a transmission from the Galactic Confederation. They've extended an invitation to humanity, and we'd like you to lead our delegation. Alina's eyebrows shot up. An invitation? To what exactly? The holographic display in the center of the room flickered to life, showing a swirling galaxy map. A sector near the galactic core pulsed with light. The Galactic Confederation holds a competition every millennium, the president explained. They call it the Cosmic Crucible. It's a series of challenges designed to test the limits of each participating species. The Astrali have nominated us to compete. Alina's mind raced with the possibilities. This was an unprecedented opportunity for humanity to prove itself on the galactic stage. But she couldn't shake a niggling doubt. With all due respect, Madam President, she said carefully, are we ready for this? We've only just stepped onto the galactic scene. How can we hope to compete against species that have been spacefaring for millennia? The president's eyes twinkled. That, Captain, is precisely why we want you to lead our team. You've already shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. Now it's time to do it again. 2 months later, Alina found herself aboard the newly christened Starship Odyssey, leading a hand-picked team of Earth's brightest minds towards the galactic core. The ship hummed with nervous energy as they approached the massive space station that would serve as the competition venue. As they docked, Alina addressed her team. Remember, she said, her voice firm, we're not here just to compete. We're here to learn, to grow, and to show the galaxy the best of what humanity has to offer. No matter what happens, I'm proud of each and every one of you. The airlock hissed open, revealing a bustling docking bay filled with beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Alina led her team forward, trying to project confidence despite the butterflies in her stomach. They were greeted by a tall, willowy being with luminescent skin, an Astrali. Welcome, humans, it said, its voice melodious. I am Zareth, your liaison for the Cosmic Crucible. Please, follow me. As they walked through the station's winding corridors, Alina couldn't help but notice the looks they were receiving from other species. Some were curious, others dismissive, and a few outright hostile. They entered a vast amphitheater where representatives from dozens of species were gathered. Zareth guided them to their designated area, then addressed the assembly. Esteemed delegates, Zareth's voice rang out, we welcome our newest participants, the humans of Earth. As is tradition, they will face the trials of ascension before joining the main competition. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Alina leaned towards Zareth. Trials of ascension. What are those? Zareth's expression was unreadable. A series of tests to prove a species' worthiness to compete. Do not worry, they are perfectly safe. Mostly. Before Alina could protest, a booming voice filled the amphitheater. Let the trials begin. First challenge. Adaptive engineering. The floor beneath the human delegation suddenly gave way, and they found themselves sliding down a chute into a cavernous room filled with alien machinery. Your task, the voice announced, is to repair the quantum flux generator. You have 1 planetary rotation. Begin. Alina's team stared at the massive, pulsating machine before them. Its architecture was completely alien, with parts that seemed to phase in and out of existence. Well, Alina said, clapping her hands together, let's get to work. For hours, they struggled to make sense of the machine. Traditional engineering principles seemed to break down in the face of this quantum technology, but slowly they began to make progress. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their quantum physicist, had a breakthrough. It's not about fixing the machine, she exclaimed. It's about understanding its purpose and adapting it. With renewed vigor, the team set to work. They didn't try to repair the alien technology. Instead, they improvised, using their own knowledge to create workarounds and novel solutions. As the time limit approached, the machine suddenly hummed to life, its energy output stabilizing. The voice boomed again. Challenge complete. Impressive adaptation. Humans. Exhausted but exhilarated, Alina's team was ushered to their next trial. Over the next few days, they faced challenge after challenge. They navigated a psychic maze using only their innate intuition, solved complex diplomatic scenarios with unexpected creativity, and even held their own in a zero-gravity sport they had never encountered before. With each trial, Alina saw her team grow more confident, more innovative. They weren't just competing. They were learning, adapting, and evolving at an astonishing rate. Finally, they faced their last trial. They stood in a featureless white room, facing a panel of judges from various species. "Your final challenge," one judge announced, "is to present a unique contribution your species can offer to the galactic community." Alina stepped forward, her heart pounding. This was the moment to show the true value of humanity. "Esteemed judges," she began, "humanity's greatest strength is not in any single ability or technology. It's in our diversity, our adaptability, and our relentless drive to improve." She gestured to her team. "Look at us. In just a few short days, we've faced challenges that would have been unimaginable to us not long ago. We've not only survived but thrived. We've taken your advanced technologies and found new ways to approach them. We've brought fresh perspectives to age-old problems." Alina's voice grew passionate. "Humanity doesn't just adapt to its environment. We shape it. We see possibilities where others see limitations. We unite in the face of adversity. Our history is fraught with conflicts, yes, but it's also filled with incredible acts of cooperation, kindness, and innovation." She paused, looking each judge in the eye. "We don't offer a single breakthrough or a unique technology. We offer potential. We offer a future where the combined knowledge of the galaxy is viewed through the lens of human creativity and determination. We offer hope." As Alina finished, the room was silent. Then, slowly, one of the judges began to applaud. Others joined in, and soon the room was filled with a cacophony of alien sounds of approval. The lead judge stepped forward, a smile on its face. "Well spoken, Captain Rodriguez. Your species has passed the trials of ascension. Welcome to the cosmic crucible." As they left the trial chamber, Alina's team was buzzing with excitement. They had done it. They had proven themselves worthy to compete alongside the most advanced species in the galaxy. But Alina knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. As they walked towards the main competition arena, she saw the other species watching them with new interest. They were no longer dismissive. Now, they were wary. Good, Alina thought. Let them be wary. Humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. As they entered the vast competition hall, a holographic display flickered to life, showing the scores and rankings of all participating species. Earth's name appeared at the bottom, with a single point for passing the trials of ascension. Alina looked at her team, seeing the determination in their eyes. "All right, everyone," she said with a grin, "let's climb that leaderboard." The cosmic crucible had begun, and humanity was ready to take on the galaxy. Crisis on the frontier. The cosmic crucible was well underway, and to the surprise of many, the humans were holding their own. They weren't topping the leaderboards, but they were far from the bottom. Their unconventional approaches to problems and their ability to think outside the box had earned them respect from many of the competing species. Alina sat in the Earth delegation's quarters, reviewing the latest challenge results with her team. Dr. Tanaka was excitedly explaining their solution to a complex terraforming simulation when an alarm blared through the station. "All delegates report to the central chamber immediately," a voice boomed over the intercom. The urgency in the tone made Alina's hair stand on end. As they rushed to the chamber, they found the other species in a state of barely contained panic. The Galactic Confederation's High Council, composed of representatives from the most advanced races, stood at the center of the room, their faces grave. "Esteemed delegates," the Astrala counselor began, "we face a crisis of unprecedented magnitude. A threat has emerged on the galactic frontier that endangers us all." The holographic display came to life, showing a region of space at the edge of the galaxy. A mass of swirling, dark energy was spreading across star systems, consuming everything in its path. "We call it the void," the counselor continued. "It's a form of dark energy that doesn't just destroy matter. It erases it from existence. Our most advanced weapons and shields have proven ineffective." Murmurs of fear rippled through the crowd. Alina felt a chill run down her spine, but she forced herself to focus. "What's being done to stop it?" she asked, her voice cutting through the noise. The council exchanged glances. "We've sent our best ships and minds to combat it. But the Zarexian counselor, a being of pure energy, hesitated. "We're losing. The void is expanding faster than we can contain it." The chamber erupted into chaos as delegates argued about the best course of action. Some advocated for immediate evacuation of the threatened systems, others for pouring more resources into the fight. Alina turned to her team, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. "We need to help," she said simply. Dr. Tanaka nodded. "But how? We're not even close to having the most advanced technology here." "No," Alina agreed, "but we have something they might not, a fresh perspective." She stepped forward, raising her voice to be heard above the din. "Esteemed council, delegates, please, we're wasting time arguing. Earth volunteers to join the fight against the void." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to the human delegation. The Trithornan counselor, a towering insectoid being, clicked its mandibles in what seemed like amusement. "With all due respect, humans, this threat is beyond your capabilities. Your intentions are admirable, but nothing," Alina interrupted, her voice firm. "You said yourself that your advanced weapons aren't working. Maybe it's time for a different approach." The Australi counselor tilted its head, curiosity evident in its luminous eyes. "What do you propose, Captain Rodriguez?" Alina took a deep breath. "Give us access to all the data you have on the void. Let us study it. Let us bring our perspective to the problem. We may see something you've overlooked." There was a moment of tense silence before the council huddled together, speaking in hushed tones. Finally, they turned back to the assembly. "Very well," the Australi counselor said. "We accept your offer, humans. You will join our task force on the frontier. May your unique perspective bring us the solution we desperately need." Within hours, the Odyssey was racing towards the galactic frontier, accompanied by ships from various species. Alina had handpicked a team of Earth's brightest minds, combining those from the Crucible with experts they'd called in from Earth. As they approached the affected zone, the view outside the ship's windows became increasingly unsettling. Stars winked out of existence, leaving behind an unnatural, absolute darkness. "It's like looking at the end of everything," Dr. Tanaka murmured, her face pale. Alina squeezed her shoulder reassuringly. "Then let's make sure it isn't. What have we learned?" The science team had been poring over the data provided by the Confederation. Dr. Carlos Vega, their astrophysicist, pulled up a holographic model of the void. "It's not just destroying matter," he explained. "It's unraveling the very fabric of space-time. That's why traditional weapons and shields are useless. They rely on the laws of physics as we understand them. But inside the void, those laws don't apply." Alina frowned. "So how do we fight something that breaks the rules of reality?" A spark of excitement lit up in Dr. Tanaka's eyes. What if we don't fight it at all?" The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. She continued, her words coming faster as her idea took shape. "We can't destroy it. But what if we could contain it? Redirect it. Like a river," Alina said, catching on. "We can't stop the flow, but we can change its course." The next few days were a flurry of activity as the human team worked tirelessly on their plan. They collaborated with scientists from other species, combining Earth's innovative thinking with the advanced technology of their allies. Finally, they were ready to present their idea to the Joint Task Force. "We call it Project Mobius," Alina explained, standing before the assembled alien commanders. "Instead of trying to destroy the void, We propose creating a closed loop in spacetime around it. Dr. Vega took over, pulling up a complex diagram. By using a network of quantum-entangled particles, we can essentially fold space around the void, creating a self-contained pocket of warped reality. The void will still exist, Dr. Tanaka added, but it will be feeding on itself, trapped in an endless loop. The alien commanders exchanged looks of surprise and cautious hope. The Tsar Exian commander, a being of swirling energy, spoke up. An ingenious idea, but the energy requirements for such an endeavor would be astronomical. Elena nodded. That's where we need your help. Earth doesn't have the technology to generate that kind of power. But together, combining the energy outputs of all our ships, we just might pull it off. There was a moment of hesitation before the Astrala commander stepped forward. It's a risk, but one worth taking. You have our support, humans. One by one, the other commanders agreed. For the first time since the crisis began, there was a feeling of hope in the air. The next week was the most intense of Elena's life. Ships from across the galaxy arrived, forming a massive fleet around the edge of the void. The Odyssey was at the center, coordinating the effort. As the final preparations were made, Elena addressed the fleet. Today, we face a threat unlike any we've encountered before. But today, we also stand united as never before. Every species, every ship, every individual here has a crucial role to play. Together, we will prove that the light of life and hope can shine even in the darkest void. With a deep breath, she gave the command. Initiate Project Mobius. Thousands of ships fired up their engines, channeling an unprecedented amount of energy into the quantum network. The space around the void began to warp and twist. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to be happening. Then, slowly, the edge of the void began to curl in on itself. It's working, Dr. Tanaka shouted, her eyes fixed on the readings. The void is being contained. Hours passed as the fleet poured every ounce of power they had into the effort. Elena watched in awe as the laws of physics were bent to their will, the void slowly but surely being trapped in a closed loop of spacetime. Finally, with a flash of light that seemed to bend around itself, it was done. Where once there had been an expanding darkness consuming everything in its path, there was now a shimmering, self-contained sphere of warped space. A cheer went up across the fleet. They had done it. Against all odds, they had contained the void. As the Odyssey began the journey back to the Galactic Confederation's headquarters, Elena looked out at the stars, a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration coursing through her. Humanity had not only proven itself, but had played a crucial role in saving the galaxy. She knew that when they returned, things would be different. Humanity would no longer be seen as the new kids on the block, but as equals, as innovators, as problem solvers. The cosmic crucible suddenly seemed small in comparison to what they had just achieved. But Elena knew it was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers alike, and humanity was ready to face them all. As the Odyssey jumped to faster-than-light speed, Elena smiled. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: humanity had found its place among the stars. Unexpected allies. The return of the fleet to the Galactic Confederation's headquarters was met with jubilation. News of the successful containment of the void had spread quickly, and the human delegation found themselves at the center of attention. As Elena and her team stepped off the Odyssey, they were greeted by a sea of alien faces, all cheering and expressing their gratitude in myriad ways. The cosmic crucible, which had seemed so important just weeks ago, had been indefinitely postponed in light of recent events. The High Council requested an immediate audience with Elena and her team. As they entered the Grand Chamber, Elena couldn't help but notice the change in atmosphere. Gone was the condescension and skepticism. In its place was a newfound respect. The Astrala counselor stepped forward, its luminous skin glowing with an intensity Elena hadn't seen before. Captain Rodriguez, on behalf of the Galactic Confederation, we extend our deepest gratitude. Your innovative solution has saved countless lives and preserved the integrity of our galaxy." Elena nodded, accepting the praise with humility. "Thank you, Counselor. But the credit doesn't belong to humans alone. It was a collaborative effort, one that proved what we can achieve when we work together." The Zyrexian Counselor, its energy form pulsating with what seemed like excitement, spoke next. "Indeed, and it is this spirit of cooperation that we wish to discuss with you. The crisis with the Void has exposed weaknesses in our current galactic structure. We believe it's time for changes." Before Elena could inquire further, alarms blared throughout the station. The counselors exchanged worried glances before the main view screen flickered to life. A face appeared on the screen, one that made several of the counselors recoil. It belonged to a Drakari, a species known for their aggressive expansion and general disdain for the Galactic Confederation. Their gray, scale-covered skin and piercing red eyes gave them a fearsome appearance. "Attention, Galactic Confederation," the Drakari growled, its sharp teeth glinting. "I am Warlord Castor of the Drakari Empire. We have monitored your recent predicament with great interest." The Trithornan counselor stepped forward, mandibles clicking in agitation. "What do you want, Castor? Your kind are not welcome here." Castor's laugh was like gravel being crushed. "Oh, but I think you'll want to hear what I have to say. Our long-range sensors have detected another void anomaly, one that makes your previous encounter look like a mere shadow." A stunned silence fell over the chamber. Elena felt her heart race. Another void, and bigger than the last. The Astrella counselor, its glow dimming slightly, addressed the Drakari warlord. "Why are you telling us this? What do you gain?" Castor's expression turned serious. "Contrary to what you might believe, we Drakari do not wish to see the galaxy destroyed. We're proposing an alliance." Uproar erupted in the chamber. The idea of allying with the Drakari, a species known for their brutality and conquest, seemed unthinkable to many. As the counselors argued amongst themselves, Elena stepped forward. "Warlord Castor, if what you say is true, we'll need all the help we can get. But how can we trust you?" Castor's red eyes focused on Elena, a flicker of curiosity passing over his features. "Ah, the human. Your species' solution to the void was impressive. As for trust, we're willing to share our data on the new anomaly as a show of good faith. The rest, as you humans say, we'll have to take one step at a time." The High Council huddled together, speaking in hushed tones. Finally, the Astrali counselor turned back to the screen. "We will review your data, Warlord Castor. We'll be in contact." As the transmission ended, the chamber erupted into debate once again. Elena turned to her team, seeing the same mix of concern and determination on their faces that she felt. "What do you think?" she asked Dr. Tanaka. The scientist frowned, deep in thought. "If there really is another void out there, and bigger than the last, we're going to need all the help we can get, even if it comes from unexpected sources." Elena nodded, then addressed the council. "Esteemed counselors, if I may." The room quieted as all eyes turned to her. "I understand the hesitation to work with the Drakari, but if this threat is real, we can't afford to let old grudges blind us. We need to at least consider their offer." The Trithornan counselor chittered in disagreement. "You don't know the Drakari like we do, human. They cannot be trusted." "Perhaps not," Elena conceded, "but desperate times call for desperate measures. We don't have to trust them completely, but we can't ignore potentially crucial information because of past conflicts." To everyone's surprise, the Zyrexian counselor spoke up in agreement. "The human speaks wisdom. Our recent victory was achieved through unprecedented cooperation. Perhaps it's time we extend that spirit further than we ever thought possible." Over the next few days, the Galactic Confederation was a flurry of activity. The Drakari data was analyzed and, to everyone's dismay, verified. A new void anomaly was indeed forming, several magnitudes larger than the previous one. Reluctantly, the High Council agreed to a summit with the Drakari. Alina and her team were asked to attend as neutral parties, their recent success making them valuable mediators. The summit was held on a neutral space station at the edge of Confederation space. Alina stood with her team as the Drakari delegation arrived, led by Warlord Castor himself. Up close, the Drakari were even more imposing. Castor stood nearly 8 feet tall, his muscular frame covered in intricate patterns of scales. But what struck Alina most were his eyes. Beneath the intimidating red glow, she saw intelligence and fear. "Welcome, Warlord Castor," the Astrali counselor greeted, its voice carefully neutral. "We're prepared to discuss the terms of our cooperation." Castor nodded, his gaze sweeping the room before settling on Alina. "Before we begin, I'd like to hear from the humans. Your solution to the previous void was unlike anything we've seen. What are your thoughts on this new threat?" Alina stepped forward, feeling the weight of all eyes on her. "The new void poses a threat to all of us, regardless of our past differences. If we're to have any hope of containing it, we need to pool our resources and knowledge. Every perspective, every bit of technology could make the difference between survival and annihilation." She paused, looking directly at Castor. "The Drakari have technologies and strategies we don't. We'd be fools to ignore that. But this has to be a true partnership. No hidden agendas, no plans for backstabbing once the crisis is over. The Void doesn't care about our political differences. Neither should we." A murmur of agreement ran through both delegations. Even Castor looked impressed. "Well said, human. We Drakari value strength and cunning. You've shown both. We're prepared to commit our full military might to this alliance and to share our technology for the duration of this crisis." The negotiations that followed were tense but productive. Centuries of mistrust didn't disappear overnight, but the looming threat of the Void provided a powerful motivator for cooperation. As the summit concluded, a historic agreement was reached. The Drakari Empire would join forces with the Galactic Confederation to combat the new Void anomaly. A joint task force would be formed, combining the best minds and technologies from all species. Alina and her team found themselves at the heart of this new alliance, their experience with the previous Void making them invaluable. They worked tirelessly, combining Drakari military strategy with Confederation scientific knowledge and their own human ingenuity. Weeks passed as they prepared for the confrontation with the new Void. The joint fleet that assembled was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Sleek Confederation ships flew alongside the massive, brutalist designs of the Drakari war machines. As they approached the coordinates of the new anomaly, Alina stood on the bridge of the flagship, a position she still found somewhat surreal. Beside her stood Warlord Castor, his imposing presence a reminder of how much had changed in such a short time. "Your plan is bold, Captain Rodriguez," Castor rumbled, his red eyes fixed on the view screen. "Using our phase shift technology, in conjunction with your Mobius concept, it's never been attempted on this scale." Alina nodded, trying to project more confidence than she felt. "Sometimes the boldest plans are our only option. Are your troops ready?" Castor's mouth twisted into what might have been a smile. "The Drakari are always ready for battle, human. The question is, are you?" Before Alina could respond, the sensors blared a warning. The Void had been detected, and it was even larger than their projections had suggested. "All ships, battle stations," Alina commanded, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "Initiate Operation Ouroboros." As the fleet moved into position, Alina caught Castor's eye. For a moment, they shared a look of understanding. Whatever their differences, whatever the future held, right now they were united against a common threat. The battle was about to begin, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. But as Alina looked around at the diverse array of beings working together, humans, Astrali, Drakari, and dozens of other species, she felt a glimmer of hope. They had come together in the face of an impossible threat. They had forged alliances that no one thought possible. And now, they would fight as one. As the Void loomed before them, Alina took a deep breath and gave the order to engage. The greatest battle in galactic history was about to unfold, and humanity was right at the center of it. A new galactic order. The battle against the second void anomaly was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The combined fleet of the Galactic Confederation and the Drakari Empire fought with a unity and purpose that belied their centuries of conflict. At the heart of it all was the Odyssey, with Alina Rodriguez coordinating the complex dance of ships and energy fields. Phase shift generators at maximum capacity, reported Dr. Tanaka, her fingers flying over the holographic controls. Mobius field is stabilizing. Alina nodded, her eyes fixed on the swirling darkness ahead of them. The void was massive, easily dwarfing the one they had faced before. It pulsed and writhed, tendrils of nothingness reaching out to erase stars from existence. All ships, maintain formation, Alina commanded. Drakari battle groups, prepare to engage your phase shift technology on my mark. Beside her, Warlord Castor growled in approval. You command well, human. My warriors are eager for battle. The plan was audacious. They would use the Drakari's advanced phase shift technology to create a series of overlapping fields around the void, each one folding spacetime in on itself. Then, using the principles of the Mobius concept they had developed earlier, they would create a closed loop, trapping the void in a pocket of warped reality. Energy readings are off the charts, warned Dr. Vega from his station. The void is reacting to our presence. As if in response to his words, a massive tendril of darkness lashed out, engulfing an entire squadron of ships before anyone could react. Alina felt her heart clench as the life signs of thousands winked out in an instant. Now, she shouted, engage phase shift. The Drakari ships surged forward, their hulls shimmering as they activated their unique technology. The space around the void began to ripple and distort. Confederation ships, begin Mobius field generation, Alina ordered. Let's close this loop. For hours, the battle raged. Ships darted in and out of normal space, weaving an intricate web of distorted reality around the void. Casualties mounted as the anomaly lashed out, its tendrils of non-existence seeking to unmake anything that came near. Alina lost track of time, her world narrowing to the ebb and flow of the battle. She coordinated movements, redirected energy flows, and made split-second decisions that meant the difference between life and death for thousands. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, Dr. Tanaka's excited voice cut through the tension. It's working. The void is being contained. Alina allowed herself a moment of hope, but she knew it wasn't over yet. Keep pushing. We need to close the loop completely. The fleet redoubled its efforts, pouring every ounce of energy they had into the massive undertaking. The space around the void twisted and folded, reality itself bending to their will. With a flash of light that seemed to bend around itself, it was done. The void, in all its terrifying vastness, was trapped in a closed loop of spacetime, feeding on itself for eternity. A cheer went up across the fleet, aliens of all species celebrating together. Alina sagged in her chair, exhaustion and relief washing over her in equal measure. Castor placed a massive hand on her shoulder, his touch surprisingly gentle. Well fought, Captain Rodriguez. The Drakari will sing songs of this battle for generations to come. As the fleet began the long journey home, the full impact of what they had achieved began to sink in. They had faced an existential threat to the entire galaxy and emerged victorious. More than that, they had done so by setting aside age-old conflicts and working together in a way that had never been seen before. The return to the Galactic Confederation headquarters was met with jubilation beyond anything they had experienced after the first void. Representatives from every species in the galaxy had gathered to welcome the fleet home. As Alina and her team stepped off the Odyssey, they were met with a cacophony of cheers, whistles, and other alien sounds of approval. The High Council was waiting for them, but so too were the leaders of the Drakari Empire. The Astrali Counselor stepped forward, its luminous skin glowing with an intensity that almost hurt to look at. Captain Rodriguez, delegates of Earth, you have once again led us to victory against impossible odds. But more than that, you have shown us a new way forward. The Zarxian counselor nodded in agreement, its energy form pulsating rapidly. Your ability to foster cooperation between even the most unlikely of allies, it is unprecedented. We believe it's time for a change in how our galactic community operates. Warlord Castor stepped forward, his imposing presence causing a ripple of unease through the crowd. But when he spoke, his voice was filled with a respect that few had ever heard from a Dracari. The humans have proven themselves to be not just warriors, but peacemakers. We of the Dracari Empire wish to open formal diplomatic channels with the Galactic Confederation. A murmur of shock ran through the assembled aliens. The idea of the Dracari joining the Confederation was unthinkable just weeks ago. Yet here they were, extending a hand in peace. The Trithornan counselor, who had been one of the most vocal opponents of working with the Dracari, clicked its mandibles thoughtfully. Perhaps it is time we all learn to see beyond our preconceptions. The galaxy is changing. We must change with it. Over the next few months, a series of historic meetings and negotiations took place. The Galactic Confederation was restructured, with new emphasis placed on cooperation and the sharing of knowledge and resources. The Dracari Empire, while maintaining its sovereignty, became an associated power, opening up trade routes and cultural exchanges that had been closed for centuries. At the center of all this change was humanity. Their role in not just solving the crisis, but in bringing together disparate factions had earned them a unique position in galactic politics. They were seen as innovators, mediators, and bridge builders. 1 year after the defeat of the Second Void, a ceremony was held to inaugurate the new Galactic Council, a body that would replace the old High Council and include representatives from all species, including the Dracari. Velina stood before the assembled delegates, still somewhat in awe of the changes she had helped bring about. As she prepared to give her speech, she thought back to that first encounter with the Astrali, when humanity had been seen as little more than a curiosity. Distinguished delegates, honored guests, she began, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. A little over a year ago, humanity took its first steps onto the galactic stage. We were newcomers, untested, and in the eyes of many, unproven. She paused, looking out at the sea of alien faces. But in facing the greatest threat our galaxy has ever known, we discovered something profound. We are stronger together than we ever could be apart. Every species, every culture, every individual has something unique to offer. It is in the combination of these diverse perspectives that we find our greatest strength. Elena gestured to the Dracari delegation, then to the Confederation species. We have seen lifelong enemies become allies. We have witnessed the birth of new technologies born from the merger of different scientific traditions. We have proven that cooperation is not just a lofty ideal, but a practical necessity for our survival and growth as a galactic community. Her voice grew passionate. As we move forward into this new era, let us not forget the lessons we have learned. Let us continue to reach out to one another, to challenge our preconceptions, and to find new ways to work together. The galaxy is vast, filled with wonders we have yet to discover and challenges we have yet to face. But together, there is nothing we cannot achieve. As Elena finished her speech, the chamber erupted into applause. Species that had once been bitter enemies were now standing side by side, united in their vision for the future. In the years that followed, humanity's influence continued to grow. Earth became a hub of innovation and diplomacy, with aliens from across the galaxy coming to study human culture and share their own. The cosmic crucible, once seen as the pinnacle of galactic achievement, was transformed into a collaborative event focused on solving real-world problems and fostering interspecies cooperation. Elena herself became a respected figure in galactic politics, often called upon to mediate disputes between species. But she never forgot where she came from, always working to ensure that humanity remained true to the ideals that had earned them their place among the stars. As she stood on the observation deck of the new Galactic Council headquarters, looking out at the swirling galaxy before her, Helena couldn't help but smile. The future was bright, filled with possibilities that no one could have imagined just a few short years ago. A young Estrelli aide approached her, its skin shimmering with excitement. "Captain Rodriguez, the Council is ready to begin the session on deep space exploration." Helena nodded, turning away from the view. As she walked towards the Council chambers, she thought about how far they had come, and how far they still had to go. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. They wouldn't make that mistake again. But more importantly, humanity had learned not to underestimate the power of unity, of diversity, of reaching out across the vast distances of space to forge connections with those who were different. As the doors to the Council chamber opened before her, Helena took a deep breath. Another day, another chance to build bridges, to solve problems, to push the boundaries of what was possible. The future of the galaxy awaited, and humanity was ready to meet it head-on.